Thoughts about chapter 45. I love this chapter. I mean, it really, should read 44 into 45 because it's like you can't hardly pick up on it like I did and start into it because it just builds, And then all of a sudden you get down to where Judah, stood up. It was like you can just see him push his way through the crowd, of the brothers there and say, no, hold on, and then he makes his big speech. But it just seems so funny when you read that speech of 44. How, what did he have to worry about? He didn't have anything to worry about. He's pleading to his brother. And you know what it says in the Bible? There's a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. And we could take casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. You pray to Christ. You're talking to somebody that's closer than your brother, and he wants to help, just like Joseph was. I mean, I can't imagine the yearning that was going on in his soul and his heart as he, let Judah go on with this big speech. And then it's he could not refrain himself, it starts off, before all of them that stood by him. And can you imagine the drama of this? He yells out, cause every man to go out from me. He all of a sudden yells something in Egyptian. And then all the guys leave. And it took a little time, I'm sure, for all the soldier guys or whoever else was in there. And they all leave. Can you imagine the drama of that moment and the brothers standing there? What's going on? Then all of a sudden, this guy who's been talking Egyptian to him the whole time, all of a sudden starts talking Hebrew to him. I am Joseph. Doth my father yet live? And it says, and his brethren could not answer him, for they were troubled at his presence. Can you imagine the shock? What? And then it's like he goes on this big speech here. I can just see those guys' jaws dropping to the floor. He goes on and on here, and all the way down to here. Way down to 14, and it says, and he fell upon his brother Benjamin's neck and wept. And Benjamin wept upon his neck. Moreover, he kissed all his brethren and wept upon them. And then it said, and after that, his brethren talked with him. So it was like, they didn't have a thing to say, and all of a sudden he's like going on the speech, and they're all listening, and it's like, well, they're just probably going like, no, somebody's tricking us here. This is nuts, this like, no way, what's this trick now? Can you imagine how confused they were after all the stuff going back and forth, and all of a sudden this cup's found, and then they're under trial, and then they're begging for mercy, and then all of a sudden, I'm your brother Joseph. And they're going, yeah, okay, now what? So he goes on with this speech. And then he goes hugging Benjamin and kissing them all. And then it says, and after that his brethren talked with him. And can you imagine, can you imagine the guys out in the hall listening to this too? Now they're Egyptians out there not having a clue what they're hearing. What's thou this talking we're hearing? We don't understand what he's saying all of a sudden. It's really amazing, too, like how it mentions that, Pharaoh, at this time, was very sensitive towards God. And it's funny, too, because, I'm going to say that I think Joseph was actually, notice there's no mention of God telling him anything to do here, but I think Joseph was wrong in telling him to come down. Actually, Pharaoh was the one who said, come down. I don't know, maybe Joseph said it first. It says, and Pharaoh said unto Joseph, say unto thy brethren, listen, lay your beast and get you into the land, take your father and your household and come unto me. They shouldn't have done that. I don't believe they should have done that. They shouldn't have left the land of promise. But it was like they were taken in by the riches and all the good stuff and the happy times of Egypt. But yet God would have provided for them. Joseph and Pharaoh would have provided for them if they'd have stayed where they were. They'd have sent caravans to them with food all the time. But they went anyway. I think it's also funny. It says, regard not your stuff. Then, like in the next chapter, it'll say, they gathered all their stuff and they went. And so they did anyway. But, yeah, we're going to find out a couple more things where Joseph was influenced by Egypt, but that's coming up later. But once again, it's also interesting here at the end. It seems like Joseph was always worrying about dying all the time. You know, God promised him long life and everything, but yet he was always worried about dying. So that's just kind of very human towards the whole story too.